Kids, now let us move towards the second part of this chapter, and let us find out whether the swallow help the happy prince or not. So when the happy prince requested the swallow to wait over there and in the city and to help out the poor seamstress. So what answer? Let us see what the swallow gives. When I was alive, sorry, yeah. I am waited for in Egypt, said the swallow. My friends are flying up and down the Nile and talking to the large lotus flowers. Soon they will go to sleep. So this swallow is imagining what his friends might be doing in Egypt. Okay, so he wished to go, he desired to go over there, but Happy Prince has requested him to stay one night over there. The prince asked the swallow to stay with him for one night and be his messenger. The boy is so thirsty and the mother is so sad, he said. I don't think I like boys, okay, answered the swallow. I want to go to Egypt. So swallow was not at all interested in helping the prince, and he was not also interested in the boys. He said that he didn't like boys. So he said that I want to go to Egypt. But the happy prince looked so sad that the little swallow was sorry. It is very cold here, he said, but he agreed to stay with him for one night and be his messenger. So the happy prince, he was so sad because of his sadness, and the good heart and the kind heart that the swallow had. Because of that, swallow decided to stay one night for his for the happy prince and be his messenger. Thank you, little swallow, said the prince. The swallow picked out the great ruby from the prince's sword and flew away with it in his beak over the roofs of the town. So swallow started his journey towards the seamstress, carrying the ruby in his beak. He passed by the cathedral tower where the white marble angels were sculptured. He passed by the palace and heard the sound of dancing. A beautiful girl came out on the balcony with her lover. So while going towards the seamstress, he passed from the cathedral tower. Cathedral means church. Church tower where the marble angels they were sculpted. Okay. Also he passed by the balcony over there, and he heard the sound of dancing. Some people were dancing over there, few people were dancing over there, and a beautiful girl, she came out on the balcony with her lover. What did she say? I hope my dress will be ready in time for the state ball, she said. I have ordered flowers to be embroidered on it. But the seamstresses, they are very lazy. They are so lazy. So when he passed from that place, he just heard what that girl was saying. So she was not talking very good about the seamstresses. According to her, seamstresses are very lazy and they do not do their work on time. But that lady was quite rich than that seamstress who was stitching her gown. She didn't even bother that the seamstress might be suffering from any kind of thing. She didn't bother about that. She was all engulfed or engrossed in her own world. Okay, so she passed that comment about the seamstress. So swallow just he went away from there. He passed over the river and saw the lanterns hanging on the mast of the ships. Now he was passing from over the rivers. Okay, over the river, and he saw the lanterns hanging on the mast of the ships. Mast means pole. Pole are there on the ship, and lanterns were hung on the pole. He saw them. At last he came to the poor woman's house and looked in. The boy was tossing feverishly on his bed, and mother had fallen asleep. She was so tired. So the lady was so tired because she had to do her work, finish her work on time, but she was not at all bothered about her child's fever. So the boy was literally tossing. Tossing means trembling. He was trembling on his bed, and the mother, she had gone to sleep because she was so tired. In he hopped and laid the great ruby, on the table beside the woman's thimble. Thimble means a metal kind of or plastic kind of a thing to protect your finger from getting pierced by the needle. So he just placed the ruby beside the thimble. Then he flew gently round the bed and he was fanning the boy's forehead with his wings. "How cool I feel," said the boy. "I must be getting better." And he sank into a delicious slumber. Slumber means sleep. So Swallow, not only he just kept that ruby near the lady, but he went near to the boy who was suffering from the fever, and with his wings he just fanned. With the help of his wings, he flapped his wings, and he fanned the little boy, and he got a cool breeze because of that. Okay, and he felt better. So the boy talked to himself. He said to himself that, "How cool I feel, I must be getting better." So he got the positive thing in himself that he would get better, and he sank into a delicious sleep, and he went to sleep. Then the swallow flew back to the happy prince and told him what he had done. "It is curious," he remarked, "but I feel quite warm now, although it is so cold." So the swallow, he felt warmth in himself, and it was very curious for him. Still, it was so cold, and as earlier I have told you that these birds, which are they do not survive in cold regions, but the swallow still he survived over there. It was cold over there. What was the reason actually for that? "That is because you have done a good action," said the prince. And the little swallow began to think, and then he fell asleep. Thinking always made him sleepy. So the reason given by the prince was this swallow, he did a good thing, a kind thing to others, a good action towards the other. Because of that, he felt warmth. Okay, further, and the swallow, he went to sleep. When day broke, he flew down to the river and had a bath. "Tonight I go to Egypt," said the swallow, and he was in high spirits at the prospect. He visited all the mountains and sat a long time on top of the church steeple. Okay, now the next day, swallow had a bath in the river, and he moved all over the mountains. He took a look and everything, and for a long time he sat on the church steeple, on top of the church. When the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince. "Have you any commissions for Egypt?" he cried. "I am just starting. So have you anything to do, or have you any message for Egypt to give? See, I am starting to fly towards Egypt, and I can be your messenger over here also, if you can tell me." Okay. "Swallow, swallow, little swallow," said the prince, "will you stay with me one more night longer?" "I am waited for in Egypt," answered the swallow. Okay, so again prince is requesting over here to the swallow to wait for one more night. And swallow has already made his mind to move to Egypt, but what he said, "I am waited for the Egypt." Okay. "Swallow, swallow, little swallow," said the prince, "far away across the city I see a young man in a garret. Okay, he is leaning over a desk covered with papers, and in the glass by his side there is a bunch of withered violets. His hair is brown and crisp, and his lips are red as a pomegranate, and he has large and dreamy eyes. He is trying to finish a play for the director of the theater, but he is too cold to write anymore. There is no fire in the grate, okay, and hunger has made him faint." So the another thing the prince observed was a writer's house. The writer was very poor, and being a writer, he was supposed to write a play for the director. Unless he wrote that play, he would not get the money. And because he was poor, he had not fired, or he had not firewood to fire in the grate. Okay, grate means a fireplace. So he didn't have money to buy firewood, and that is why his house was not not filled with warmth, okay, warmness, okay, warm. He was leaning over the desk. The desk was all covered with his papers, and he was not able to write because of the extreme cold. His face had become, his lips had become red as pomegranate. His hair were brown but crispy because of the cold. So further the prince says, the swallow says, I will wait with you one night longer, said the swallow, who really had a good heart. He asked if he should take another ruby to the young playwright. So here the swallow agreed to wait one night more because he really had a good heart, and he asked the prince to whether he could take one more ruby from his sword. Alas, I have no ruby now, said the prince. My eyes are all that I have left, okay? They are made of rare sapphires, which were brought out of India 1,000 years ago. So here prince says that he doesn't have any ruby left in his sword now. All he was having was sapphire eyes, okay, and he can give one sapphire out of two to the swallow, and swallow can give it to the poor writer. So he ordered the swallow to pluck out one of them and take it to the playwright. He will sell it to the jeweler and buy firewood and finish his play, he said. So what was prince planning? If he give one of the sapphires to the playwright, he would sell it to the jewelers, and because of that he would get money, and because of money he can buy firewood. Dear prince, said the swallow, I cannot do that. He began to weep. So the swallow started crying. He started weeping because plucking his sapphire means plucking one of his eye, okay, one of his eyes. So he was not ready to do that action. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince, do as I command you. Okay, please do. It is my command. It is my order to you. Please pluck one of my sapphires. So the swallow plucked out the prince's eye and flew to the young man's garret. It was easy enough to get in, as there was a hole in the roof. Through this he darted and came into the room. The young man had his head buried in his hands, so he did not hear the flutter of the bird's wings. And when he looked up, he found the beautiful sapphire lying on the withered violets. So a swallow, he plucked out one of the sapphire and flew directly to the playwright's house. It was easy to enter into the house because there was a hole in the roof. He darted. He straight away entered into his room, and the writer had buried himself like this. Okay, so he could not hear the flutter of the bird, but when he looked up, he found the sapphire which was there which was lying on the withered violets. I am beginning to be appreciated, he cried. This is from some great admirer. Now I can finish my play. And he looked quite happy. So when he looked at the sapphire, he was very happy. So he thought that he had been appreciated by one of his admirers, and he started finishing his play. The next day, the swallow flew down to the harbor. He sat on the mast of a large vessel and watched the sailors working. I am going to Egypt, cried the swallow, but nobody minded. And when the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince. So the next day, when swallow he sat on the mast of a great vessel, a large vessel. Vessel means ship, okay, and mast again, pole on a ship. He sat on that pole and he watched the sailors working, and he was thinking to himself to move to Egypt, but nobody minded. No one minded about his movement. So when the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince. Okay, I have come to bid you goodbye, he cried. I have come here to say goodbye to you. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince, will you not stay with me one night longer? So again prince requested him, asked him to wait one night longer. It is winter, answered the swallow, and the snow will soon be here. In Egypt, the sun is warm on the green palm trees, and the crocodiles lie in the mud and look lazily about them. So here we can see this, the swallow has desire to move to Egypt, as in the city snow would be there very soon, but Egypt was a warm place for him to go over there and enjoy the green palm trees, and to observe crocodiles lying in the mud lazily. In the square below, now here the prince had started a third narrating the third incident, or the third place which he was observing. In the square below, said the prince, happy prince, there stands a little match girl. She has let her matches fall in the gutter, and they are all spoiled. Her father will beat her if she does not bring home some money. And she is crying, and she is crying. She has no shoes or stockings, and her little head is bare. Pluck out my other eye and give it to her, and her father will not beat her. So the third thing what the prince observed was a match girl. She was selling matches, and by mistake all her matches had fallen into the gutter, and the little girl is so badly crying because her father would beat her if he came to know that because of her all the matches had spoiled. So she had no shoes or stockings, and her little head was bare. She had no cap to cover her head and ears from the winter. She had no shoes and stockings to cover her legs from the cold. Okay, so the happy prince ordered once again to the swallow to pluck out his another sapphire eye and give it to her, and when she would take it to her father, he would not beat her. So for this reason he requested the swallow to wait. Now till here we'll study in this video. We'll see what happens further, and how the generous king and the kind swallow, they made their own pair, and how they helped the city. Okay, so we'll see everything in our next video and the last part of this chapter. So for till now, please go through both the videos and leave your comment in the comment box. Go through the lesson in the textbook and the refresher as well. Please go through the